Hey everyone, Happy New Year. The numbers are in for Long Beach and Panama City Beach for 2021. I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group over at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit on the data. I really want to explain to you guys a few things about the market and what we saw last year, but where we may be headed, especially early in 2022. It's really, really dramatic and extreme. And I'm going to get a little detailed on the numbers for you. But before we do that, I just want you to think for just a minute about 2008 and think back if you owned real estate or if you were buying and selling real estate in 2008 or anyone else you may have known. Think about that market and think about how dramatic the other way it was. All the bank foreclosures, a lot of the really dramatic emotional stories we heard about a lot of things in a market that felt like it was going to last a very, very long time. Just a couple things to remember. Extreme markets don't last forever. We've been in one that's been going easily a year and a half now. We've seen that the market we're in. You're going to see in a minute that we're very much still in that market, but keep in mind as you're making decisions that markets like this or any market don't last forever. It's very cyclical. A lot of people in real estate subscribe to an 18-year cycle in real estate, and if that's the case, we're towards the end of that. So let's get into the numbers. I want to show you guys not only some trends about the overall market, and then we're going to get into some specific pricing over at Long Beach. So first of all, looking back last year, buyers had 11% fewer choices to even buy into Long Beach in all of 2021. There were 42 units that were actually for sale at any given time inside of the MLS system. Well, I know of a couple deals that happened outside of it, but last year there were only 37 done, so about 11% fewer. The number sold were just about the same, 32 and 33. A little bit of 3% increase, 6% increase in sold volume, which is pretty interesting. This doesn't really tell the whole story, though. The average sales price going up 3% is a little misleading here. I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. It's higher than that. Let this cat out of the bag for a minute. A couple things that this will really help us. If you look at this chart for a minute, this is really going to help us understand what happened really since the beginning of the pandemic and where we may be headed here, at least early in 2022. If you look at the red line represents the number of condos for sale at any given time. And this chart specifically is all the Gulf Front condos in Panama City Beach. So at the beginning of the pandemic, if you're here, and think about this from a buyer's mindset for a second. If right after the pandemic you wanted to buy a condo in PCB, and a lot of people did, month over month over month over month, there were fewer and fewer and fewer choices all the way down here till April of 2021. If you were a buyer trying to buy something and you missed out on an opportunity or you lost a bidding war, what have you, you would turn around and have even fewer choices than you did when you were trying to work that first deal. And so that's part of what drove up the intensity of the market, drove up pricing. It's a basic supply and demand thing. There was plenty of demand and supply was going down, going down, going down. It was just harder to find something to buy. From April to August, though, look at what happened. There was plenty of supply that was added to the market. We're going to explain about why in just a minute. And I was interested to see as we got into the off season if this was going to continue or not, because if this had kept going, we very well could have been at the end of this little part of the market, this part of the cycle of the market. But look at what's happened since August. There again, we're on a downward trend, a steep downward trend again of units available for sale. If you're a buyer again and thought you could be a little bit patient, that's gone in the other direction, especially after what I've seen in the first week so far in January. And look at what this means for our months of inventory number. Remember, months of inventory in real estate, traditionally 5 or 6 months of inventory has signified or represented a neutral market. And the idea is very simple. Owner calls real estate office gets marketing going, arranges for showings, negotiates contracts, gets a contract, works through the closing process, gets to closing. That whole entire process traditionally normally would take 5 or 6 months to do that. Anything takes a certain amount of time normally. And in real estate, normally it used to be 5 or 6 months to work through the process. I think it's more like 4 or 5 months now because it doesn't take us 30 days 45 days to run magazine ads and newspaper ads and things like that. So if 4 or 5 months is normal, then anything less than that number will, which means things are going faster. If that whole process is now on average taking 2 months or 3 months or 1 month, there's more demand. It's a hotter market. We're in seller market territory. The longer we stay in seller market territory, the more likely we are to see price appreciation. At the very least, price is staying the same, if not slight appreciation, or extreme appreciation. So look at where we are. When we cool down in from April to August, the softest we got in months of inventory was 2.53 months. And if you think about that for a minute, theoretically, that means in 2.5 months, we would have sold out of everything in the market. That's still a very, very hot seller's market. And look at where we've come back down to as the supply has come back down. We're sitting right now at 1.15 months of inventory. If you're trying to buy a condo in PCB, it can be difficult. You don't have a ton of choices. And if the trend continues, we're a lot of the predictions we're seeing this year, we're expecting a year very similar, at least at the beginning of the year, very similar to what we've seen the last year and a half. If you look at Long Beach specifically, very, very similar story. Get my face out of the way. Beginning of the pandemic's here. Less and less and less and less and less supply till about April, May, June. Supply came up just a little bit, but it's back down again. And the same story, if you look at months of inventory in Long Beach itself, Long Beach never had gotten above about 3 months of inventory. It's back down at 0. It doesn't get hotter than 0, right? Another way to look at this, look at what was going on in August. 2 columns to focus on here. Active just is like the red line, the number of units for sale. And then the number of new contracts is one of the statistics that we track to see the pace of how many people are buying condos. So the supply here is still very much down 41% year over year, down 36%. This is in August of last year. But we were writing fewer contracts in August. Look at that, down 15%, down 18%, down 17%. September, similar story. Look at this. Number of contracts down 31%, down 33%. Popped 41 there, but down 28. But look at what happened in December for those 2 columns. Our supply went from down 36% year over year down to 50%. People had half the number of choices December of just a week ago than we did the year before. Half the number of choices available. And look at the number of contracts still being written. 35% more new contracts were written, 32% more, 8% more, 62% more new contracts were written in the last week of December than we wrote the year before. And we're already tight on supply. It's hard looking at just simple numbers. There isn't anything, terribly dramatic about 62% higher. It's not like watching a semi truck in Alaska on an ice road on the edge of a cliff. That's dramatic, right? But 62% more contracts is dramatic when you're thinking about real estate. It's a very intense, extreme market. And like I said at the beginning, I don't want us to take this for granted. Markets like this don't last forever. To look at some specific pricing in Long Beach, this is just since December 1st. We had a 1-bedroom. This is going to be very, very clear to you just watching what's happened in the last 30 plus days. Closing on a 1-bedroom for $415, another closing on a 1-bedroom at $415. A 2-bedroom closed at $600. We had just closed one the month before that at $590. Another 2-bedroom closed at $630. A 2-bedroom on the market for $675 is under contract, and a 2-bedroom that's on the market closed at $719,000. That's all just since December 1st. And look at those numbers. Look at that jump just in the 2 bedrooms in that period of time. Now I understand there's a big difference between updated units, non-updated units, all those rental histories, all those things play into it. But that's a pretty extreme spread for the same floor plan. A couple things to take away from this. From a timing perspective, we're sort of coming into a perfect storm. We're not quite there yet, but coming into beach season, people get really, really emotional about their purchase. If they've been thinking about this for some time, sometimes a number of years, hey, we're finally going to buy the place at the beach. And they want to get it done in time for beach season, in time for rental season, same thing. Those buyers are already shopping now. They were shopping in November, December, because they understand that they want to have something closed and ready in time for beach season. If it's going to be a rental, that starts as early as March 1st. If you're thinking about selling in 2022, there are two times to probably target. Early in the season, there will be a lot of momentum, a lot of emotion. If that's the case, if you're thinking about targeting the spring selling season, get your marketing going now for a couple of reasons. Not only are people in other parts of the country, after they're done with their snow shoveling, looking at real estate and deciding what they're going to look at when they come to town in February or March, they're already doing their research. So to have your marketing and show them that you're available is important. Also, you don't have any competition right now. So take the seasonality out of it for a second and just look at when you would want to be selling real estate. You want to sell real estate when you have less competition. There's zero competition in Majestic or in Long Beach right now. So, and it's a really excellent time for two reasons to be on the market if you're selling early this year. And because we would expect some momentum to be to gain momentum between now and probably April, May, it's a good time to price and be a little aggressive with your price. You have to have a plan for being able to close out a contract at a higher price than what has been selling in that range, but this is the kind of market to do that. Get your marketing going. All the websites and photography and videography are very, very important. You got to distribute all that stuff. People need to see that. And then price aggressively and let the market work towards you. And unless something really dramatic happens nationally in the economy, globally in the economy, or regionally inside of, or locally inside of Long Beach, if all of a sudden you had 6 or 8 units pop on the market in the next 2 or 3 weeks, there would be something different to talk about. But right now, there's still plenty of demand. There's no supply. So it's a great time to be a seller cashing in if that's something you're looking to do. If you're not selling in the spring, if you want to enjoy the unit again this year or take advantage of another rental season, then if you are talking about selling in the fall, remember, it's the same strategy. You want to think about marketing in June or July. And the same reason that red line went up in from April to August, think about what was going on. The units were packed. Everything was rented right in high season. It's hard for a buyer to get in and really evaluate the different condos they want to buy because it's hard to get in and see them. So the same idea that you want marketing going now for a buyer who's going to be buying here in the next few months. Same thing, June, July. They're going to be writing contracts August, September, October. Get your marketing out in a little advance of that so that the marketing has time to work, so you have competition for your offering. I hope this helps. I know I got into the weeds a little bit on some strategies and the data, but I just want you to keep in mind a couple of takeaways. It's still a very, very good market for a seller. And we sort of expect that. I don't see anything yet anytime soon that's changing that. A couple of things, big picture, that will probably have an effect on it at some point. Interest rates ticking up, although that matters, when you're talking about $500,000 and $700,000 and $900,000 condos, slight adjustments in interest rates don't quite matter to that buyer as much as it does the first-time home buyer at 200. So we want to keep an eye on that. We're expecting a good rental season, which is going to help the market also. If anything happened in the stock market, dramatic, that can temper demand for a Gulf front condo. Someone might not want to, or more people may not want to make a purchase when their portfolios are down. That can slow things down a little bit. But for now, things are looking pretty positive still. Again, I've been in multiple offer situations last week. I'm in a situation right now just trying to find something for a few different people and having a hard time finding it. So the market's still very good, very active. Be aggressive on your pricing if you're selling. If you're targeting in the fall, Think about marketing earlier than feels natural. Also, just be on top of the market throughout the season. A lot of things can happen over a 5, 6, 8 month period in real estate. So far, we're still on a good trajectory. Well, trajectory meaning strong, healthy market. So I hope that this helps you guys. I know it got into the weeds a little bit, but Happy New Year. And we'll be in touch. We've got someone actually looking in Long Beach right now. If you're thinking about selling, let me know. I think most of you are already on our e-alert system. If you're looking to keep up with the market, specifically in Long Beach or really any other building, but we have a program that will send you an alert anytime a unit comes up for sale, changes price, goes under contract, or sells. And we can tweak that system for you however you want. We can send that information to you as it's happening, once a week, once a month. It's a really excellent way to keep up with any market that you're trying to keep up with. If you're just trying to keep some sense of the value of your property, we can send it to you once a week, once a month, something like that. There's no charge, no commitment or obligation to work with us or anything like that. It's just a really good, accurate way to keep up with things. I like to spread that around as much as I can. If you want that, shoot me a text to 850-527-0221, and we'll get you set up for that. If you have any questions about anything, give me a call, shoot me a text. I'm happy to give you my 2 cents on your particular unit or units if you have some questions and want to strategize. Again, I'm Craig Duran with the Duran Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. Thanks for watching. We'll be in touch next month.